She would be lovely. Thank you. Should I do?
I can't see you.
No, I can't. No.
Should we start, Toastmaster Prasad?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, Namin.
Toastmaster Prasad, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, Toastmaster Prasad, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
She's got an internet issue, I think. Earlier also.
Should we start, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Yeah. I'll move to another Wi-Fi, but let me just start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. My name is Nermin Isa, and I'm going to be your Sergeant at Arms for today's event. And guess what? I'm going to be your Masters of Ceremony as well. I welcome you all for this amazing morning. We are going to have the toll training event. We have amazing guests, amazing speakers, and at the end of the session, we're going to have Q&A. I would like to remind you all, and remind myself as well, of the 3 ground rules of this session. Kindly keep your cell phone on a silent mode throughout the session. Please avoid talking about sex, religion, and politics during the meeting. Kindly avoid leaving the room or the virtual room while the speakers are speaking, and please show all the support that you have and you can to our speakers. Now, kindly put your hand next to your heart and repeat after me the mission of the club. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Are we guys ready for today's meeting? I'm sure you all are. Now we're moving to the next segment where we are going to call the Director of Area 31. Toastmaster Prasad, he is an IT professional working as a senior solution architect at Ittisalat, our favorite company. A Toastmaster member since 2019, a member of New Start Toastmaster Club and Ittisalat Toastmaster Club as well. He served as a VPE secretary, served as an assistant PQD, and he is currently the area director. I welcome Toastmaster Prasad. Kindly come on stage, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Namin, for the wonderful introduction and also for that vibrant call to order. Good morning, district leaders, division leaders, club leaders, and Toastmasters and the guests. It is my honor to welcome you today on behalf of the entire Area 31 team to our very first Area 31 event of the year 2022-23, that is the Tall Tales training. Thank you so much for taking time off your precious weekend to be with us today. Really appreciate for that. I sincerely hope that by the end of the session, you will not only enjoy yourself, but also be enriched with knowledge on how to stretch your imagination with tall tales. I believe we have never conducted a tall tale contest in our area, and if we have, it must have been years back. So this year we decided to conduct one. So we organized this training, hoping it will help our members to prepare better for the tall tale contest. And towards this end, we got, I believe, the best of the best in our district for both the training as well as for the demo speech. Last but not the least, we also have an Q&A session at the end. Now, I will not take much of your time, but before handing over to the master of ceremony, I would like to appreciate the presence of some of our district leaders. First, please welcome our district PQD DTM Surendran. DTM Surendran, welcome to the event, and if you can just say a few words.
Thank you, our area director Prasad, and my dear Area 31, the stars. Area director Georgia is here. Our past area directors, district Toastmaster Anita and Naina, and most importantly, our CGT Shamima is also here to bless this occasion. And our trainer champion Hashim and all the presidents and who are here to learn how to brag about our life. A very good morning to all of you. All are ready to brag, right? By using the tall tale techniques. Excited? Actually,
Yes.
When in our childhood, our parents tell, no, please don't lie about yourself. But now after joining Toastmasters, I realized this is a skill. To entertain others, we need to brag about others. So I take this opportunity to wish all the best for a very happy learning on how to brag about yourself, how to brag about the situations around us. So all the very best, happy learning, and all the best to Area 31 as well. Back to our area director.
Thank you so much, PQD. Now, I would like to welcome our district CGT DTM Shamima to just share a few words.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, area director and everyone present in the meeting. I'm so sorry, I'm having some issues with my camera, so I'm unable to open it. However, I have always admired people who have, participated or given something about tall tales. And I always thought that, will I be able to do something like that? And I have never been, to tell you the truth, I have never been able to participate or say something about tall tales. So today, I really look forward to this session from DTM Hashim. And I hope you will be seeing me in the stage some other time, participating in the tall tales. So I really wish that, and wishing you all the success, and wishing that this event goes very smoothly and perfectly. Thank you all. Thank you, Toastmaster Prasad, for the invite and asking me to speak a few words. I would have genuinely loved to open my camera, but however, that is not possible. But wishing you all the best, and please go ahead with your event. Over to you.
Thank you, CJD. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to our master of the ceremony. She's one of our dynamic members of our area team, and she took this role at the very last moment. And she's currently serving as an VP Education at the Randovos Toastmasters Club, and also the area assistant director for this club growth, and also the DTAC 2022 finalist for the table topics contest. So please welcome Toastmaster Narmin.
Good morning again, my fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I know we're all eager to hear from Toastmaster Hashim. We are all here to learn more and to brag more, as properly said by Toastmaster Deepa. I'm not going to take much of your time. I want to give all the attention and all the time for our amazing DTM Hashim Halim. But prior to that, we need to properly introduce our amazing speaker for today's training. DTM Hashim is an IT consultant by profession. He has been in Dubai for the last 10 years, and he has been a Toastmasters for 8 years. He achieved DTM thrice. He won 9 prizes at the district competitions across all 4 categories. What a great achievement, sir. And he is a District 105 champion for international speeches for the last 2 years in a row. Toastmaster Hashim, you are a great speaker, in my opinion. I love to hear you speaking, and I love to hear you giving us training. So the stage is all yours, sir. And please enlighten us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Narmeen. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session on the Tall Tales contest. I'm actually very happy that I'm able to join you all today. For a moment, it looked like I wouldn't be able to make it. In fact, today morning, I had a breakfast appointment. I was supposed to go to Angelina Jolie's house. She apparently makes the best idli sambar in this part of the world. She keeps inviting me, although because of all the Toastmasters meetings I attend, I generally don't get the time to go. But I really didn't want to disappoint her anymore. But anyway, but as I was progressing towards Angelina's house, what happened was, on the way, I ran into my old friend, Stephen Hawking. He has a brief history with time, as you all know. He used to run a watch repair shop in Karama in the olden days. So I picked him up, and when I just started chatting with him, he told me about this intergalactic crisis that is going on Saturn. So I said, okay, Stephen, come, let's go. I'll help you resolve this problem. He said, Hashim, you're a good speaker. You can fix this. I said, fine, let's go. We immediately went on Uber, and we called a rocket from SpaceX. As soon as it landed, we both jumped on it and rushed off to Saturn. And when I landed there, the scene I see is, these aliens, they're arguing over whether the rings of Saturn are actually circular or oval. I'm like, this is your problem. This is your big intergalactic crisis. If I don't leave from here now, my wife is unlikely to give me lunch today. That is a bigger crisis than this. So let me go. Immediately, myself and Stephen, we jumped from there back onto that rocket ship, and we zoomed off back to Earth. Unfortunately, what happened was, the problem with these Ubers. The rocket ran out of petrol, and we had to stop at a gas station. The nearest one was in Russia. Now, I hate going to Russia. The problem, whenever I go to Russia, this Vladimir Putin always wants to meet me. And I've told him, don't disturb me all the time. Okay, once in a while is fine, but you want to see me every single time? Anyway, I had to relent because we don't say no to Putin. So we had lunch with, Vladimir Putin and his twin brother, Vladimir Putout. So we went to the Mustafa's chai shop, which was right in Moscow Central. We parked our rocket there after filling fuel, and we had this, Russian Rajma and Moscow mutton curry. And once we finished that, I said, Chris, we've got to go now. Click all the buttons. Let's just zoom home. I need to attend. I need to get home before my wife gets pissed off, right? So we zoomed off in our rocket. But this Stephen Hawking, he did something wrong. I don't know. He pressed some wrong buttons or something. Suddenly, we were transported to the future. But when I was there, what I saw was that the District 105 Tall Tales contest was happening, and the winner was from Area 31. So that I told Stephen, come on, you have got to get me back. This is my chance to inspire the next champion. Bring me back. Let me talk to Area 31. That's what happened. We zipped back, and here I am, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad I'm able to be here today, and I hope I'll be able to inspire the next District Tall Tales champion today. Okay, so that was my tall tale, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed it. This was just to give you a brief idea of what a tall tale is all about. So from my story, which you can see how believable it really is, I promise you all of this actually happened. Yeah, okay, all of this actually happened. A tall tale is, very simply put, a story that you're presenting, which is exaggerated beyond belief, but you deliver it with such conviction that, at some part of their heart, people actually want to believe you. So that's what a tall tale in reality is. You remember in the olden times when they didn't have newspapers or the internet or anything, any way of communication, everything was told in the form of stories. News from one part of the world would reach another part only through stories. And when enough people talk about it, there's a form of exaggerating it to such an extent that it becomes unbelievable. We've heard legends of Hercules killing, the lion and the seven-headed octopus or whatever it was, all sorts of things. These are all exaggerated stories, but they were meant to communicate, a message or a moral or, a theme. And that's what a tall tale is all about. So we're going to focus. All right, we're going to focus today primarily on the Toastmasters tall tale contest, the way it is conducted, and how you would be ready to prepare yourself for the tall tale, right? So the first thing to look at is to remember is that it is a speech. And what do we know about speeches? All speeches have opening, body, and conclusion. We know that. The purpose of the opening is solely to grab the audience's attention. Let's not complicate it by putting anything else in there. The purpose of the opening is to grab the audience's attention. So you want to have them hooked onto you with some surprising thing right at the beginning, okay? So before you write out your tall tale, things that you want to think about. What is the premise of your story going to be? What are you going to be talking about? Here you have to remember the audience, right? You got to think of, you want to put in some content which people can connect with in some way, and you're going to exaggerate it. Now, a simple way of thinking of, for example, what an exaggeration would look like is, let's picturize a tree and there is a cat in the tree.
मुझे ना मेरी प्रमोशन जब हुई थी, मुझे ना एमिलिया ने 100 दिरहम का वो
We'll work on that also. But so we have a tree and there's a cat in the tree, and a little girl is looking and crying that the cat is in the tree. You go up, save the cat, and the girl is very happy with you and she's smiling. This is a simple story. But if this were to become a tall tale, so let's try to exaggerate it. If you make it 10x times, okay, so the cat is in the tree, the little girl is crying, you climb up the tree and find that that cat is actually a panther. And now you're in two doubts whether you need to save it or run for your life. You can multiply this 100 times and say that cat was actually, when you touch the cat, you realize that it was a robotic cat which had AI intelligence connected to the cloud. And then the cat started speaking to you in Shakespearean language. And then you and the cat had a very good discussion on the top of the tree about about Macbeth and, as you like it. So the idea behind it is to take a simple situation which is believable at the beginning and then exaggerate it to such an extent that it is unbelievable, right? So first thing first is for you to select your premise. When you select a premise, my suggestion to you would be to pick things that are relatable to everyone. So for example, my theme here would have been, in my tall tale at the beginning, my theme was this actual event, the Area 31 Tall Tales training, which I was not going to be able to attend. So it's a premise that I can present and it will connect with the audience and they will be able to accept it. If you pick very wild things, like for example, you pick unicorns and teddy bears or, something like that, the audience may not be able to accept it. So pick premises that the audience can accept. Good examples would be traffic on Sheikh Zayed Road, for example. Something that everyone can understand. Okay, this is crazy. And you can actually exaggerate on it, how you crossed Sheikh Zayed Road in 2 seconds, etc. That would be your exaggeration. So pick a premise that everyone can easily relate with and understand. The second and critical thing about the structure of a tall tale is, of course, your exaggeration. That is what everything is based on. Exaggerate means to blow things out of proportion. So you do this actually in your normal lives as well. You were waiting in the bank for your turn to come and you waited for 5 minutes. But when you tell it to somebody, you would say, I waited for 30 minutes. I don't know how many people were there. The queue there was as long as, my history textbook put, and all the pages in my history textbook. That's how long the queue was. It never seemed to be moving. And there was this old man at the front who was withdrawing money from the cash machine. Oh, he took like 20 minutes just to put in the numbers again and again and again. That's how you would exaggerate even a normal situation, right? So in a tall tales contest, you're going to plan how you're going to exaggerate and blow this totally out of proportion. There are no limits. Taboo topics, of course, apply. Yeah, sex, religion, politics, avoid those. A thing to avoid when you are exaggerating is don't pick on, things like communities or specific people or specific genders, etc. You don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. Pick whatever it is and just exaggerate it. So something which is long would become really long. Something which is short would become tiny. Something which is loud would become explosive. Something which is quiet would become unaudible. Yeah. So exaggerate in that form by picking up something from your story and blowing that out of proportion. The last and most important thing that you need to remember about the structure of a tall tale is that it has to be a story, right? It's not about one sentence and how you exaggerated it. So if you say, if your premise that you picked the Sheikh Zayed Road and you're talking about the traffic on Sheikh Zayed Road, you're saying the traffic from on Sheikh Zayed Road was 53 kilometers long. I waited for 2 hours and it moved 1 inch. Fair enough. That is just the exaggeration part. Now you need to make a story out of this. What do we know about stories? Every story has 1, characters. 2, it has some kind of a problem which gets resolved in the second half of the story. And that's what the story is all about. There's never been a story which does not have a problem, right? So picture this. If there's a story, there was a man and a woman. They had 2 children. They had a garden in front of their house. The roses were red. The sky was blue. Everyone was happy. The end. That's not a story, right? A story is when there is a problem and you're able to come out of that problem, right? That's when it becomes enticing. So you want to build a story around it. And stories are, we all know that stories are the best way of communicating any message or any point that you want to make. It's always been stories. Even when we were kids, you remember our grandparents or our parents used to tell stories and all the kids would sit around them and listen attentively. It's always been a story. If you are with kids or around kids, kids will always come to you and ask, can you tell me a story? No kid has ever come up and said, Daddy, can you show me a PowerPoint? No, it's always tell me a story. So stories are the best way of communicating anything. And definitely in a tall tale too, stories are the best way to present your tall tale. So try to make it a 3 to 5 minute story in which you have your premise set and you're able to exaggerate it as much as you can. All right. So believably unbelievable. So the premise is believable. However, you exaggerate it to make it unbelievable. Just like the folk tales and the legends that you used to hear, back home or wherever you're from. Similar to that, your tall tale is something exactly which happens like that. Now, to understand whether your tall tale is good or not, or how it can be better, I think the best place to look at is the judge's ballot. Right. So let me just share with you the judge's ballot for tall tales. I think I have it here. Yep, here it is. All right. I hope you can all see my screen. Yep. Okay, perfect. So this is the judge's ballot for a tall tales contest. Yeah. And as you can see, what I want to focus on is these first 2 areas. This is around 30 plus 25. That's 55% of the marks are completely around this. This is speech development and speech techniques. Speech development is 30 marks. And what that means is whatever you use for your normal speech, you need to use in a tall tales also, right? So we know that it has to have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. So that's called opening, build-up, climax over here, right? So the way your speech is organized, the purpose of the opening we know is to grab the audience's attention. So you need to have something surprising, something startling, something that intrigues the audience right at the beginning. Yeah. Then you come to your main premise, which cannot be very different from the opening. It has to flow from the opening and build on that, right? So you have your premise and then you have your body where you have different scenes happening or one full story in which different incidents happen, which you are exaggerating, which culminates in a climax, which is your conclusion. Now, you know that for a tall tale or for a humorous speech for that matter, the conclusion has to be a surprise, right? The idea behind humor or some exaggeration is that the end result is something different from what you expected it. It's like using the power of 3, except that the 1 and 2 are going in one direction or following a certain pattern, and 3 is something completely different. That's what builds in the surprise element of it, the humor part of it, right? So your conclusion needs to be something very different. So in my tall tale, in the conclusion of all this, I had all these Stephen Hawking, I had Vladimir Putin, his brother Vladimir put out. I had all of these people, and in the end, my ended right here at area 31, right? So it's not where you may be taking them in multiple in a direction, but where your end result is exact somewhere else, and that's what's built into the surprise. So organization is important, and the way you deliver it with smooth transitions from one anecdote to the next, from one incident to the next. You need to be able to move smoothly, and your theme needs to carry throughout your speech. And that's what is going to score you the most in terms of speech development. The second part, which is what is completely different from all your other speeches, is speech techniques. Here you'll see effective use of exaggeration, irony, pun, surprise, twists, etc. Exaggeration, we already spoke about, blowing things out of proportion. Irony is like, irony is like saying, love is everywhere, found in all corners of the world, except in my little home or my part of the world. So it's like, you're presenting something as universal, and except that you don't have it. You can say, you can do that easily with money. Everyone says, that money talks. Yeah, money talks. But my credit card only seems to say goodbye only. Yeah, so it's the irony of it, that you're saying something is universal, yet you don't have it. Puns, you know how they are. Puns are play with words, like put in and put out. Yeah. So surprise twist. These kind of techniques are what are expected in a tall tale. So you need to have enough exaggeration in there, ironies, jokes, puns. Now, when you script your speech, check for exaggerations and ironies that you're bringing in, the surprise twists. Remember one thing with surprises. Surprises are good when there aren't too many. So you need to make sure that it is in proportion. One thing that you would notice is that humor isn't exactly mentioned as something which scores you here, right? Except there's a little bit of humor and slapstick right at the end. It's only a small part of it. It's not the entire piece of it, right? Unlike a humorous speech where you have actually specifically 15 marks just for humor. So when you script your speech, check out for exaggeration and irony and all of that. Humor needs to be only a small component of it. It does not have to be very big. So when you trim out your lines, maybe see whether you actually need that joke in there or not. Exaggeration, keep in there. Humor, okay, 2-3 points is enough. It does not need to be very humorous. If it's humorous, it's good, fair enough. And if you have the knack, please go with it. But don't force a joke in there at the expense of an exaggeration. Okay. Now, I'm not going to cover physical voice and appropriateness right now, because they'll come in the remaining points that I have to share. But I hope you've got the crux of it, that this is all about speech development and technique. That forms the bulk of your marks. Okay. Let me stop sharing right over here. All right. So we've seen the judges' ballot, and we know what's going to score you well in the tall tales contest. So now let's look at the two parts of a normal speech, which is content and delivery. Now, I'm going to give you the ABCs for content. The first thing when you choose your content is, one, it's got to be appropriate for the audience. The A is audience. Now, you can see that your audience are all Toastmasters. So you're all adults. Don't pick fairy tales per se when you're trying a tall tale. Don't bring in childish content. They seem very good for exaggeration. However, they may not be appropriate for your audience, right? Your audience may or may not accept it. So pick topics that will go down well with your audience. Of course, the standard rules apply. Do not use sex, religion, or politics. Do not talk about any specific community, any language, any gender, any profession, etc. Try to not be try to not put anyone down when you are selecting your topic and the content that you put into it. Picking yourself is, of course, very good. However, since you are bragging, it need not always be yourself. At the bragging points, you could bring a third party in there so that it doesn't look like, you're just boasting yourself up too much, right? So a good way to understand whether your content is doing well or not is to always record yourself and hear it out. Share with maybe your core team, your friends, colleagues, whoever you can practice with, your mentor, and make sure that you've seen it a couple of times before you actually present it. This is very important for all speeches, of course. However, for the tall tale, it is extremely important because you want to make sure that your exaggerations are working. Otherwise, this could be a very, you may think in your mind that it's working, however, it's not effective. So you want to get tips, especially for that. When you pick your content, always make sure that you pick something that you're passionate about, that you can deliver with conviction, that you feel strongly about. Those are the only things that make a story work. Just because somebody else said this might be good content doesn't make it a good story. It's a good story if you feel that, or if you believe in it and you think you can deliver this with conviction. So for when you're selecting your content, pick something that you like and that you're happy and comfortable with. The second part about the ABCs of content, the B is, for anything to be effective, it needs to be brief. Don't go on and on the same point, especially not in a tall tale. You want to move on from the first point to the second point and then start exaggerating on that. You've already exaggerated on point one. Don't stick there and play with it again and again and again. Don't repeat things. First of all, your speech is only for 3 to 5 minutes, so you have limited time. And for anything to be effective, whether it's humor or exaggeration, needs to be brief. So get to your point quickly, move on to the next one, move on to the next one, right? So be brief and don't waste time repeating the same thing. The C of your content is the characters that you build. This story should not be entirely about you. You see, in my tall tale that I presented at the beginning, I had various characters in there. I had Angelina Jolie, I had Stephen Hawking, I had Vladimir Putin, etc. So you bring in characters in it. This should not be entirely your story, because after all, you are exaggerating and bragging. Bring in characters to remember. Characters form an important part of any story, right? And we know that there has to be some problem, some desire, some achievement that happens in this story. So these characters help you to deliver that effectively. Now, the speech is short enough that you can have many characters and people don't have to remember them, right? But when you select characters, try to select characters that everyone can recognize, right? So, talking about your Uncle Kuttappan may not work here because people don't know Uncle Kuttappan. However, if you pick names like, Vladimir Putin or Stephen Hawking, these are recognizable names and people will quickly connect with you, right? So pick characters that are memorable, that people know about, that you don't need to explain much, right? And then that will be the best way of selecting the characters for your speech, for your tall tale. Now, we've spoken about content. The ABCs are, of course, audience, being brief, and characters. The next one is delivery. In terms of delivery, again, I have ABCs for you. The first and foremost is your attitude. Now, what you're saying is unbelievable, but you have to present it as if you genuinely believe in it. That's the only way to make a story convincing. You need to have that conviction. And okay, your story is out of bounds, but you should deliver it as if it is true, as if it is real facts. And that's when your story, people will accept your story. Okay, yeah, they will accept it as a tall tale. However, at least they accept your story, and that is only possible if you're able to bring that passion. This goes back to my content again, that select topics that you actually believe in, that you think you can deliver with conviction. Only then can you make your story effective, right? So attitude is first and foremost important. Just like we used to talk a lot about body language and your conviction when we talk about humorous speeches. Similar, so for the tall tale as well, you need to be able to deliver it with that conviction, with that passion, with that force and energy to make sure that people can accept your story. Otherwise, your story falls flat. The B in the ABCs of delivery is your body language. On the Zoom platform, of course, it's limited. but you should be standing when you're giving your contest speech. Make sure your hands are moving. They give more effectiveness to your expression. So for example, if you're showing a moment of angst where you're saying, the Saturnians were talking about rings, is that your problem? Use your hands to, build that believability, that conviction. Your body gestures, your facial expressions, they actually help a lot. Your face speaks a lot, especially if you're on Zoom and you're up close. Your eyes, your face, they speak a lot, right? And your hands and expressions. So bring in as much body language as you can. If your energy is low and you're hitting a joke or an exaggeration, it's going to fall flat. If your energy is low, your audience's energy is also going to be low, right? So you want to build up that energy. So use your hands, use your body as much as you can when you're delivering your tall tale. And when you practice with the delivery, with the body language, so that when you're actually doing it on stage, it comes naturally and you don't have to, force it out, right? So when you practice with your delivery and your expressions. The C in the delivery is your creativity. This tall tales is all about creativity, right? So when you're scripting, it creates scenes where you can do something unique, where you can do something exaggerated, when you can force your hands and your face and your body to express. So for example, if you're talking about, the traffic in Sheikh Zayed Road was long, use your hands to show long. So give us point there where you can be, where you can express it. And you need to have creative solutions to come out of things. So for example, if you're stuck in traffic in Sheikh Zayed Road, you pressed a button on your car and your car suddenly stood up. It had extended legs and you were able to move out right over all the traffic there. Or like that Chinese car which was flying, you had some turbo boosters right at the bottom and your car suddenly started flying. So be creative in the way that you're exaggerating and bringing things up. That forms the ABCs of content and ABCs of delivery. So in summary, what I would like to say is the tall tale, as you understand, is a story that you're delivering with conviction, which is all about exaggerating things and blowing things out of proportion. The key to having a successful tall tale is to prepare it well in advance, practice it with your delivery, record yourself, and get feedback from your core team, from your mentors, exactly on which of these exaggerations are working, which are not. That will help you to filter out what is the best content that you have and the best delivery that you can give, and then present your speech. Like any speech, remember that great speeches are not written, they are rewritten. So you may have to go through many iterations of correcting it, of revising it after viewing your videos to help you deliver the best tall tale. And if you don't remember a thing that I have said, of all the things I have said, if you don't remember a thing, the one thing that I want you to remember is a story is only as good as a person who is telling that story. Same people can tell this, different people can tell the same story, and yet you would believe something that one person said. And it all comes down to how much conviction you have, how much passion you have, what you put into your voice when you tell that story. That makes a difference. And that will make your tall tale stand tall or fall short. So I wish you all the best in the upcoming Tall Tales contest. And I hope that these tips have been useful for you to help you construct and deliver an effective tall tale. As for me, once we finish the Q&A in today's session, still have to go to breakfast with Angelina Jolie. I think those idlis are getting warm up now. With that, back to the Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Nermeen.
Thank you very much, DTM Hashim. Please make sure that you invite me with you when you're going for the breakfast. I would love to join you and Angelina Jolie. Of course, an amazing event. We have to see it live. So that's what we're going to have next. We're going to have a demo speech by our expert speaker, DTM Famid Mohammed. He has a very rich CV, but let me summarize it to the best that I can. He's a product manager at Utilities and Infrastructure. He is Assistant Area Director 27 Program Quality. He's a president of Burj Toastmaster Club in 2020-2021. He is an Area 21 Humorous Speech winner in 2019. He's a Triple Crown winner in 1999, 2000. I would like to call our next speaker, DTM Famib Mohammed. DTM Famib, can you hear me?
Actually, he's just going to join in just 2 minutes. He got the emergency of just 2 minutes. So in the meantime, like we have our firstly, yeah, maybe he will just join in just 2 minutes. So before that, we have our this one district PQD DTM Jamil with us. Welcome, DTM Jamil. If you can just share a few words.
Good morning. Good morning, 31 Toastmasters. Thank you so much, Director Prasad, for this wonderful event and for extending me a kind invitation. It's always a pleasure to listen to DTM Hashim, whether it's as a contestant or whether is it as a trainer or even when we were part of the CGD team a couple of years earlier than today. So I think some wonderful tips were shared. I'm just regretting that I didn't join earlier because I missed. It looks like I missed hearing out what you spoke as a speech, and then you have used that speech to give your training, which is really wonderful. I think this aspect of Toastmasters, which is the tall tales, is something which is maybe not focused as much by everybody because it's not one of the 4 mandatory contests across our district. So maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't, I don't know. But right now, again, for this year, we are going with international humorous and evaluation table topics. But tall tales, I know some clubs do it, some areas do it very religiously, and it's always very interesting for me to attend these and then be a part of them, because I believe that this really challenges us as speakers, because we're not just speaking, but we're also using our imagination. The points delivered by DTM Hashim were very, very valid. As he spoke each one of them, I was trying to imagine and trying to put myself into situations, trying to think of stories which would ideally apply to the points that he was mentioning. And something very powerful for me, what you said at the end was, a story is only as good as its storyteller. I'm sure a lot of us have memories of stories that we've heard from our grandmothers and people of our family long back. We still remember them today, not because of the story itself, but because of the person who said it. Maybe it was how we connected to that particular person, or maybe what we felt for that person, or it could have been because of how that person said the story. The same story you read somewhere, you maybe perhaps watch a movie about it, it doesn't have the same impact, or if it's said by somebody else. So I think that's a very important goal to target, which is to be that storyteller who people will remember, who people will always keep in their memories forever. So thank you, DTM Hashim, for that really powerful closing statement. I think it has really impacted me, and I'm sure a lot of others might feel the same. I'm not going to take much time. I can see that the next speaker is just connecting to audio. He's already in the room, it seems. So on that note, I'd like to thank Director Prasad once again for the invitation. It's a working day for us here in Oman, as you're aware of, since the start of this year, that the weekend in UAE has changed. So we are now on not congruous weekends. So I'll try and hang around as much as I can today. But I might have to again leave in some time. So thank you for the opportunity, and I wish you all the very best. It's really good to see you all. Thank you. Over to you, Edi Prasad.
Thank you, DTM Jamil, for your presence and those words. So we have our speaker back. So Master of Ceremony, we can just proceed.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Prasad, and thank you very much, DTM Jamil, for your kind. DTM Famib Mohammed, can you hear me? Maybe I lost connection.
Hello.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Can you hear me? No.
Yes.
No worries. No worries.
Hello. Yeah.
We're all eager to hear from you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry for the technical glitches. It's
It happens, sir. The floor is yours, sir.
hello.
Just a second, DTM Fahmi, can you pin the timer or you want me to spotlight?
Maybe you can spotlight. That's better.
Okay. Yeah, you can proceed.
DTM Mohammed Famib. Who am I? Who am I? Mohammed Famib.
Who am I? That's exactly the question which I'm asking. Fellow Toastmasters and all those ones who have not yet lost your name. I am Apple. Not the one, that handsome little 14-year-old punk iPhone Apple. I am the real red apple. You know the kind of sacrifices which I have made for this world? I have sacrificed myself daily to keep that doctor away. You know how many times did I have to fall on to Mr. Newton's head before, in order just to bring gravity to each one of you? Though I was just testing the bounce of his hair. But whatever being said, just one message. Even if you're the greatest scientist in the world, you still have to take a bath once in 15 years. Ever since, there have been several instances which have given myself to the world, me, the red apple. When Steve Jobs lost his job and came to me to start a phone company, I gave him my red, juicy, good-looking pictures to him for using it as his emblem. But what did he do? He took my WhatsApp profile picture, which I had uploaded, onto my DP, and immediately after getting beaten by Adam, that pic, that too in what? In black and white. This is not justice to me. Now, you might ask, what am I doing at this wonderful international convention center on Cloud 9 for Super Achievers 2022? You guessed it right. I got wrongly invited. I got the invitation in place of the little punk apple. But then you might ask me, what am I still doing here at the convention when you're not invited? Though being the red apple, I'm just here to meet with someone who can help me at this juncture. He is a super achiever of 2020, 2021. He has ruled and rolled over the world. See, there he comes, the keynote speaker whom I just wanted to meet. Oh, the people are running away. Oh, the temperature is rising. Oh, some of them are going for a mask. Yes, our keynote speaker, the virus. Oh, hi, virus. This is Apple, the real one. Hi, Apple. So nice to meet you. We are from the same era. So how come you're here? Oh my God, you recognized me, the real Apple. Yes, I truly recognize you. I have been in your place. When I have been in your place, almost losing my name. I was just restricted to the only computers and virus, and they used to call me antivirus when I was Uncle Virus. Doing that to me. And on that one night of revelation, when I was having a Corona beer at a bar, I got it. I need to reinvent myself to make people adore me, dare to defy me. And now look at where I am. Virus. Not a single person dared to show me their face. And I have cruised all over the world that I now call myself Top Cruise. Top Cruise virus. Only Top Cruise. Top Cruise, sir. Can you just help me with this? In this, how can I make a name for myself? Me, that at Apple. Okay, let's make a movie, The Real Apple, the origin story by Top Cruise. How about that? Top Cruise, sir. If I am seen associated with you, virus, people will run away from me, right? Then what should I do? That's true. Then I will actually make my friend co-virus, you call him Elon Musk, to tweet that he's going to buy Apple, the real one. Oh, wow, Top Cruise, sir, that's a wonderful idea. Yes, finally, I will be renaming myself as Apple X, and off I will go to Mars. Leave alone this world. I will conquer the next world. Over to you, TMO.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. That was really funny. That was really hilarious. Please stay as an apple, as a fruit, not as a phone. I do prefer it this way. Thank you again very much. Let's move quickly to the next segment, which is Q&A. And the moderator for this segment is none other than Toastmaster Jisha Oman. She's the president of Rendezvous Toastmasters Club. And guess what? I don't need to introduce this lady because I consider her as my savior, as my backbone, as my support. She is all of that blended, and that would be Toastmaster Jisha. The floor is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Narmeen, and good morning, everyone. I think that introduction was a bit exaggerated, but I do count that. Well, here we are into this fabulous session, and this is the best time to utilize our district champion, DTM Hashim. And I've been requesting for some questions. Couple of questions are lined up here already. So, DTM Hashim, are you ready? Shall I shoot the question?
Yes,
Great.
please. Thank you.
Okay, so here comes the first question. Will you get marked down if your audience does not actually laugh at your jokes? I'll repeat. Will you get marked down if your audience does not actually laugh at your jokes? I mean, how important is audience reaction? Over to you, sir.
Okay, so this is more applicable for your in-person meetings and live meetings. On Zoom, it's very difficult to gauge if your audience is actually reacting or not, especially in contests, since we ask, I think the Zoom master asked everyone to switch off their cameras as well. However, let's look at it in the context of a live meeting. In the case of humorous speeches, if you see the judges' ballot, there's 15 marks for audience response. However, in the tall tales, there isn't anything for audience response. So it's not important that you have jokes as much. It's always good to have some jokes. However, it's not mandatory. And if the audience does not laugh, you're not going to get marked down in a tall tales contest for sure. In a humorous speech contest, yes, there are 15 marks for audience response. So you want to get people to laugh. In a tall tales, not that important. Yeah, but it's good to have, that's all.
Thank you, sir. Now, next question. We have Toastmaster Georgia, who has posted a question in the chat. I shall read that to you. Does the tale always have to be about bragging? How about self-depreciating humor? Example, I'm such a bad cook. In fact, whenever I cook, the family run for cover. Would this be acceptable for a tall tale? Over to you, sir.
Okay, so we've got to understand the difference between humorous speech and a tall tale. And the core difference is that in a humorous speech, your focus is on making the audience laugh. Whereas in a tall tale, it's about exaggerating. You want to tell them a story that is unbelievable. That's the idea behind a tall tale. So if you were going with your cooking example for a tall tale, you would probably say something like, my cooking was, my cooking was so bad that the last time I cooked, 3 people fell ill from it. Or, I was cooking the fish curry. There was so much oil that, somebody would invade my kitchen to take oil from my food. Or, my fish curry was so bad that even the fish was trying to escape. One fish actually spoke to me and said something, save me, something like that. So the idea is behind to exaggerate it. The other concept of the humorous part probably fits better in a humorous speech. Here, the focus will be on exaggeration.
Thank you. Now, here comes the next question. In tall tales, to what extent dialogues are important? As we heard DTM Famid's speech, we could see a couple of dialogues in that. So to what extent it can bring an exaggeration or maybe some kind of approach or influence to the audience? Over to you, sir.
Okay, so in the end, for any story, dialogues are very good. If you notice the judges' ballot, there was voice as well, which was for 15 marks. So dialogues give you an opportunity to, create a scene, bring out your voice modulation. Also, if you give an accent or a tone to that dialogue, then you're exaggerating that as well, right? So it's good to have dialogues in your speech. Of course, you got to balance it out. You only have 3 to 5 minutes. So you want to appropriately place it at the right places that you get maximum impact. But yes, it is good to have dialogues. And you should have some dialogues in your speech.
Great. Thank you, sir. Now, next question. Can we bring a story that is totally made up? Does it need to have some truth in it? Over to you, sir.
You can bring a story that is absolutely totally made up. It does not have to have an ounce of truth in it. If you have, it's also fine. It's entirely up to you. There's no rule which says that it should be the truth or not the truth. However, what I have seen is that the most effective ones are perhaps the ones which have a little bit of truth, maybe at least the setting and some part of it, which you are exaggerating. However, it's up to you. You can bring a completely made up tale, but remember your audience and pick something that would be acceptable to them. Don't bring dragons and unicorns like you hear in fairy tales. They may not go down well with an adult audience. So pick something that is appropriate for audience and go with it. It doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Great. Now, the next question. It seems there was a word slapstick in the judging panel, right? Can we get an example for that, if it is okay?
So slapstick would be more like, physical comedy that you do on stage. If you remember, the olden comedies, like you had Laurel and Hardy and you have Mr. Bean, for example. None of these people actually spoke much, but they still created a lot of comedy out of doing acts and gestures, etc. So slapstick would be like, you have some comedy, physical comedy, you create some scenes there and you can put that as well. Definitely you can use that in your exaggeration, in your tall tale as well. Just make it a balance between your exaggeration and your actual physical humor that you show, because it's difficult to exaggerate physically. However, if you can and you can create a scene for it, absolutely go for it. Just make it simple enough that your audience can understand it.
Okay, thank you so much, DTM Hashim. These are the questions which I received. If any more questions, I request others to post in the chat, or maybe you can ask directly. The floor is all yours. Just 1 minute we can wait.
a disclaimer to everyone, I'm not a judge in any of the contests. So yeah, don't take anything that I have said and tell that to the judges.
So it seems no more questions. Thank you, sir, for your time and answering all the questions very patiently. Over to the Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Narmin.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, Toastmaster DTM Hashim. It was a great pleasure to be here today. I really learned so many stuff, and it's an amazing morning for me just to meet all of you and hear from all of you. Thank you all very much for being patient with us. I hope you came out of this. That's all from my side. I would like to call Toastmaster Prasad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We're done from our end, sir. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Narmin, for being such an amazing master of ceremony and taking through the session so smoothly. Can we have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Narmin? And now it's the man of the moment, DTM Hashim. Thank you so much, sir, for such an enriching and fabulous session on tall tales. I'm sure each one of present here must have been enriched their knowledge on the tall tales. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, sir. Next, we have our speaker for the day, DTM for me. DTM for me. Thank you for being here and presenting a truly a champion speech. Thank you so much. And no event ever can be successful without a teamwork. So, and this event is no different. So I had an amazing team of the role players supporting me for today's event. So just before that, I would like to just acknowledge the presence of our division director, Toastmaster Muniba Ali. Thank you for your presence, Dr. Muniba. Now, firstly, I would like to thank our Sergeant Arms and our Master of Ceremony, once again, Toastmaster Narmin, for just stepping up at the last moment and taking this role and doing an excellent job. And yeah, the next is our timer, Toastmaster Anil. Thank you so much for the support in keeping the event on time. Thank you. Next, we have our question and answers moderator, Toastmaster Jisha. As usual, always there for the support. And thank you for ensuring that Q&A session ran smoothly. And next, we have our Zoom master, DTM, this is Anita. Thank you for being an diligent Zoom master at ensuring the event runs smoothly without any glitches. And now, and most of all, to all the audience who are present here, it is just because of you like this event has been a success. Thank you for being here, and special thanks to my this area council team, the area club presidents for providing all the required support whenever we needed. And I sincere thank to all of your time and hope the session has been fruitful for all of you. And with this, I just officially just close the event. And I would like to just invite our the division director, Dr. Munipa, to just say a few words. Dr. Munipa, you are there?
Must be at work.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the floor is open for any guest who want to share their feedback. The area director, Georgia. If you'd like to share.
Yeah, I can share my feedback. I think it was an excellent session, Toastmaster Prasad. You know, I've got COVID. That's why I haven't got my camera on. So I look quite scary right now. I'm sure I could do a whole tall tales with COVID. That might be coming up, but I'm inspired. I'm inspired to try tall tales. I've never done a tall tales. So today was an excellent session. Thank you so much to everybody who put the session on. Really, it's very, very helpful.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. Georgia, wish you a speedy recovery. Anybody else want to share their thoughts?
Hi, Nana here.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for this wonderful session, and thank you, Narmin, for getting this session so well. Thank you, Zoom Master, and our champion Hashim, as always. Please send him a WhatsApp message or ask him these special consultations. He will not charge you. Even if he charges you, he will charge you a laughter and a clap in his next speech. And thank you for me. It was very nice to listen to you again, because I heard this speech in tall tale competitions also. That was also fantastic. Thank you, Disha, and thanks. We had a wonderful time. Thank you, Prasad, for bringing in this idea and also standing by it and taking it forward.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Can we have one group photo? If you can have all the cameras on.
Zoom Master, say something before clicking.
It's done. It's done. It's done. No, I wouldn't. I took candid shots. So then, you know, you can say about it. Hello.
Okay. Thank you,
That's
everyone.
done.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Kadam. Thank you. Thank you, Hashim. Thank you, everyone.